project is called Women Work. It's been a journey around what it is that women consider work in terms of a value system. My name is Taranj Konsari. I am the lead practitioner on this interdisciplinary collaborative project between artist Mehrdad Saif, choreographer Pepper Ubera, and a whole host of women from Newham and Tower Hamlets.
Quite unusual that women meet without knowing each other, without being family, and have this intimate moment where they can discuss things together, dialogue, and especially now with everything that we are confronted with technology, things are becoming more individualistic. It's almost like a ritual where we are nurturing ourselves, we are nurturing others and supporting the community.
Some people quite happily assume that some work should not be paid for, or are prepared to sacrifice, if you like, their pay for that type of work. Perhaps we've been brainwashed, all of us, including myself, about domestic work and how that should just something you do for yourself, your family and your children. Shifting from that position into looking at actually how can society financially award that kind of work.
The women who became co-producers and collaborators from Newham and Tower Hamlets, they come from very different walks of life, most of them mothers, so most of them had to struggle and juggle in a way their childcare and their involvement in this project as well as doing their day jobs.
For many of the women, I think work is very much aspirational. Once other obstacles have been removed, they would very much want to feel part of a workforce, but of course it goes back to that question that we were discussing. What is work? Is it only paid work? Is it not? They have huge amounts of work that they are doing and taking care of their children.
It was very important for us as a group of artists to look at paid time and unpaid time. So we were very conscious that if these women were to be co-producers in this project, they had to get paid for their time. That also, I suppose, brought a very different set of people who would normally engage with art projects, which was very, very interesting.
Every woman, I think, had a different motivation to be there, so I think that was quite interesting. Everybody came to the table with different ideas and different opinions, and not necessarily the same as my opinions.
I was really kind of positively surprised by how much common ground there was between all these women, who were sometimes of very different educational, socioeconomic, cultural backgrounds.
There was so much planning that was going into it and so much organisation and all these ideas that were contributed by all these wonderful women.
It was amazing to have young women there as well, and the ideas they brought. Their point of view was very fresh and very inspiring, and also give us hope that the young generation is also seeing the things which are important and they're ready to take their steps.
Here we were taking some of the things that we had learned in politics or in history, and we were turning it into something that we could actively be proud of.
The parade was not really about showing this mass solidarity really, but it was to have a project for us to all work with in order to motivate all of us towards something rather than becoming a talking shop.
The parade, it was really an interesting opportunity to look at the concept of performance in a new way. How can we actually bring everyday activity and events into this parade? So for example, the whole parade started with a demonstration of how to use a drill.
We had a couple of volunteers come up and give it a go. We even had a mum and her young son use a drill for the first time, which was fantastic to see. I've always been interested in DIY. I've always used power tools, and it strikes me as crazy that women are scared to do DIY tasks around the house themselves. I think it's really important to empower women throughout lots of different elements of their lives.
I feel like if you empower the body, you can empower the voice. All these things are interconnected. For example, when we did the parades, I did feel some people that were more shy in the movement classes. They have a banner and they were shouting, and that was very exciting to see.
What is the relationship of the parade itself to people who live in those areas, and how can they participate into it? Looking also at the history of those areas that we were going through to give it a different type of context.
Just to know the area and to know each other and to know what people from the area has been doing. I just discovered how many places in Newham are holding histories and holding narratives.
It's really important to also mention India and Sally, the London College of Fashion students who were involved in making the costumes. They were absolutely brilliant.
As a photographer, I see those two perspectives from the inside as well as outside, trying to capture everything, the emotions, the people, the music, all the movement we were creating. It was just amazing for me.
these things don't stop because the parade has stopped or because the project has finished. These relationships are lasting, are continuing to have a legacy. So artistically also what has been really interesting for us as a creative team is the notion of occasions or events, and how does one creatively design events which are not necessarily about commercial consumption or spectacle, but it is really about social change.
We need to build bridges, we need to meet together, we need to get to know each other and see how different we might be, but also how similar we are and how we can support each other.
To really wrap up, what's been really, really interesting is that there wasn't a very singular idea of what work is to women. What was very interesting, and we're going to continue, was the value of care. Because it's not measurable, you can't put it into a formula. Those are things that we no longer credit as much, and they are such an important part of our society and what builds our society.